Well, welcome everybody to a really exciting webinar. I'm very excited to share this one with you simply because at the end, we've got some very, very cool technology I want to share with you using AI. And it blew me away when I started using it about a month ago. I've been testing it and I'm going to be continuing to evolve this over time. So it'll help you make more sales to the right people. So today's webinar is all about software sales and marketing decoded. So we're going to be sitting, if you want to get right into the nitty gritty, I've got other webinars that are reasonably narrow in focus. This one is about the broad topic of software and sales, software sales and marketing. And so I'm going to be taking you through the main topics of what we're talking about today. So let's just dive into it. Let's get into it. By the way, if you've got the Q&A box open, you can ask me questions. More than happy to answer those questions on the fly. Most people just want to take the details in and absorb it. So the agenda for today. Make sure I'm clicking on the right screen. The agenda for today is nailing your niche. So this is really important. Many people have said that, and it's very, very true, that the more narrow you get, the more clear you are on your customer, the better you will be able to sell to them. You'll be able to understand their specific needs, wants, and desires. You'll be able to produce marketing that speaks directly to them, and you'll be able to make more money, because if you are an expert in your particular field, you get paid more. Same as specialists in any area of the world get paid more than generalists. And so it really pays to be a specialist. The second part is going to be from invisible to influential. It's really important to be influential in your industry. So you don't want to be you don't necessarily need to be an influencer, somebody who, we know what that is, but in your industry, how do you do that? Well, you can do that through a whole range of topics and ideas and ways to achieve that. And I'll take you through how we think about that here at TechTorque. Third part is trust is your ticket. So how do you build trust with your customer base? It takes time. Definitely does take time, but over time, if you've got that trust and you've built that relationship with them, then you're going to be much, much better off. And the fourth part is conversion is king. How do we get people to convert from where they are to parting with their money, to engaging with your solution and engaging with your business? So I'm going to start with, first of all, is, am I qualified to talk on this topic? So my background, I started my first tech business when I was 22, built and sold a number of software and technology businesses, always from the perspective as a salesperson and marketing person. Operations was run by other really more talented in those fields than myself. And we got to the business to about 70 people across Australia, New Zealand, Southeast Asia, in the software and technology space, doing a whole range of things. If you want to talk about that, we can have another session about my background in a later stage. But now in the last couple of years, I've been focusing towards helping others scale their software and technology business. And we've had some pretty good results recently. So here I'm showing you these not to impress you, but to impress upon you what this is and what this is not. Okay, this is not a magic wand and where you'll be able to generate 1,000 leads and money just starts falling out of the sky. Have a look at the one from Sean from Nexusoft in the top right-hand corner here. So this is not about piles of lead gen. It's actually about process and thinking and sales structure. So Matthew's expertise has brought a fresh perspective to our business. He worked closely with our team to refine our messaging and overhaul our sales process. By implementing his recommendation, we stopped giving away expertise for free and started monetizing our sales process, which has been instrumental in driving nearly $2 million in new business in the last 3 months. Now, there's a lot more to that testimonial I can read you, but that's the main part there. All of these parts are not necessarily about being able to pedal the boat or pedal the machine faster. It's actually about getting better at the work, better at selling. So lots and lots of technology people find themselves really good at the technology part, which is great, but they need help with that front end, that sales and marketing piece. So it starts with thinking and then execution. Okay, let's get right down into it. Nailing your niche. Now, if you know who this guy is, Seth Godin, and not everyone is your customer. Seth Godin is called the godfather of marketing. Early days of internet marketing. I think it was 1996, something like that. Yeah, 96. Started a digital marketing agency, early days. Raised a couple of $1 million doing that. 2 years later, in 1998, sold it to Yahoo for $26 million. And since then, he's been continuing to write a blog every single day. Rain, hail, or shine. It doesn't matter what day it is. There is a blog. He puts out a blog every single day. And then he also publishes books. And from most famous books are things like, here we go. the purple cow, and it's all about standing out in your industry. Imagine if you were driving along and you saw black and white cows all day, you wouldn't really remark on them at the end of the day. But if there was one in a paddock on a hill that was purple, that's the one you'd remark about. That's the one you'd talk about. So it's about being remarkable and also being interesting to the market. So Seth has written lots and lots of books. Permission marketing and this is so lots and lots of stuff. So he is the godfather of marketing. If you want to be better at it, he's your guy. So now, when it comes to targeting, and we're getting narrow here, we're talking about narrowing into your target market. The section is nailing your niche. This is how most people think about their niche, right? They think about industry, they think about size, they think about location. They're the main things. Oh, well, we sell to people in the mining industry of more than 500 people in the Bowen Basin. Okay, cool. That might be the truth. What people don't do is they think that next part actually moves people. This is about businesses. And the thing is, businesses don't buy things. People buy things. Think of your business not from a B2B perspective, business to business, but more of a H to H perspective, human to human. You can humanize your brand. You can humanize your business. But the thing is, the procurement officer, the person who's going to be running your trial, these are humans. They're probably already solving the problem that you solve, not in a more elegant way, probably in a much worse way, typically using spreadsheets and handwritten notes or Word or whatever it might be. What they're doing is they're solving the problem. They're solving it manually, they're solving it with people, and your solution might solve it more elegantly. But the thing is, if you're only going to talk at this top level, then you're really going to miss out on a significant way of thinking and how your customers think. So you're really going to nail that niche. And so first of all, you think about the role of the person that you speak with. So CEO, another really big mistake that people make is they go, well, if it's manufacturers that we sell to, well, I've got to market to the CEO or the owner or the managing director. And the problem with that is they're busy. They're worried about reputation. They're worried about staffing. They're worried about, the cost of ownership, the cost of operating their business. They're doing a whole range of things. And if you're going to send a marketing message to them, I bet you they've received 100 other marketing messages in this month as well, like I have. And if you're on LinkedIn, that's how you probably heard of me. That's how you've been approached 100 times as well this month as well. So it's really important to nail that role and think about that role. Who do you sell to? Well, maybe you can enter the business through a side door. So the side door might be projects, might be finance, might be operations, might be field services, might be an area where your product is specifically engineered and designed to solve a problem for that person at that level. Well, then if you can enter the conversation there, then you're going to find yourself in a much better situation simply because first of all, they're not the boss. They're not busy doing all these other things. So they're going to be much more likely to engage with you. And second of all, you can actually talk to their problems. The challenge here is then you've got to build enough content to be able to allow them to pass it to their cohort, their one-ups, the people above them in the hierarchy of the business. So you think about the role. And a great way to think about role is, I've used this quite a few times. What I love talking about role is go to Seek, type in the people that you mainly deal with in your customer base, and you'll find job adverts for those types of people. Why would you do that? Well, the job advert's going to tell you exactly their education level, their KPIs, the types of person they are, the background they've got. There's so much detailed persona information, if you're using a marketing term, persona information in a job advert. You go, well, I'm just going to take that and then point my advertising and point my marketing and content towards people who look like this. And that's going to give you an incredible, it's going to set you apart from the other people in the industry who are saying, oh, we help X to do Y through Z, okay? And so then we talk about values. So values are important when it comes to what type of business is it? And when I say what type of business is it, what do they value? What do they respect? How do they see themselves? And we can often within our sales process start weaving in aspirational values of what our clients are and what they look like. And what that means is that when you are speaking with them in a sales call, you can say, well, our customers, so for example, I say, I talk about values. So my customers, people typically buy from me when they've got a great product that solves a genuine customer need. They can deliver on it really well, but what they need is help with the sales and marketing aspect. So they've really nailed the technology. They know how to deliver it. They just need help with the front end of the business. And that type of values conversation, that type of aspirational conversation really changes the tone of your sales engagement. And the last part there is behavior. How do they behave? So when you might look at your current customer database and you go, well, you got what are the behaviors we like and what are the behaviors we don't like? And I've worked with businesses who sell to some of the biggest companies in the world, and the behaviors that those biggest companies in the world had were pretty ordinary, and the government organizations and huge corporates. And what they did is they said, okay, well, these aren't desired behaviors. Who could have different behaviors? And they recognized that people who were one rung lower, one step down from those giant organizations were much easier to deal with, much more likely to purchase, and stuck around and became referrers. So the biggest organizations in the world, they can't say anything because they've got lawyers and a lot of layers of management that stop them from being able to say anything about your product. So now let me give you an example of the values and behavior structure. So I do send out the slides if you're asking for. I'm more than happy to send the slides because I do have a couple of my tools that I use. So what makes an enterprise the best fit? So these are things like looking for growth and efficiencies, have an organization structure that facilitates growth, leaders with a vision willing to put it into place, want to drive change using data. So when you're talking with a customer, this customer might say, well, our best customers really are looking to drive efficiencies. They're going to use data to do so. And also we want to make sure that one of the things that our customers really have is a growth mindset. Is that you? And asking that question in that way allows the customer to go, yes, that is me. Or no, we like the current way we're doing it, or we've been steady for the last 20 years, or whatever it might be. So you want to make sure that if you identify these behaviors and values, then you can actually sell more to the right people, because the world is your oyster. You've just got to find the pearls that live inside there. What are the narrow niche? Sam Altman from OpenAI, ChatGPT, everybody's heard of that now. He said, solve the problems for the narrowest niche you can find. Find one customer you can solve the biggest problem for, and then you can expand from there. If you try to be everything to everybody, you'll be nothing to anybody. So you need to solve one thing, or a very narrow thing for one group of people. And if you've got a customer like the testimonial I showed you earlier, Nexusoft, that product, that can do a whole range of industries. So what we did is we had hub pages, we narrowed it down to just say, well, we solve this problem for these people in this format, and then we communicated directly one-to-one with people on LinkedIn. And that's how they were able to drive that couple of $1 million of brand new revenue in a couple of months, just by going from we can do everything to we do one thing for these people, really, really clear, and we wrote the value proposition, of course, but in doing that allowed them to really penetrate those customers and make a serious amount of money in a reasonably short amount of time. Okay, so once you've developed your list of customers that you've got there, the next step I want you to do is think about the top 5 to 10 clients that you found there. So write down the values, you get those customers, then you write what they've got in common, which is the stuff you can find on LinkedIn: vertical size, location, complexity, ownership model, that type of stuff. Why they chose you, the events that triggered the need. This is a wonderful thing. So for all of your customers and all the customers you want to actually sell to, what you should be doing is getting a Google alert for that business. Every day, Google will send you an email about your customers and whether or not they've been in the news. If there's something in the news, or a legislation change, or a change of role, or a new appointment, whatever it might be, that might be the opportunity for you to go in and see if they want to improve whatever you solved, whatever you do. Okay, and so then, of course, also you want to have a look at the competition. Google alert on your competition. You've got to know what they're doing. And of course, where are you vulnerable now? This is introspective. This is where you think about your existing client base and think about where are you vulnerable. Sit around with your team and ask, where am I vulnerable now? And in doing that, you'll identify key 2 or 3 areas that you can upgrade on. So in my business, we had I just felt that we weren't communicating enough with our clients. So what we did is we sat around and we said, okay, well, the first thing we can do is send out a weekly email to every one of our clients, what we've done this week and what we're going to do next week. Simple as that. And what that did is create a whole bunch of accountability. We put a date on it, and it solved a problem that we thought we might have. And then we go to the next challenge and the next, and we keep knocking out these challenges, the vulnerabilities, and we build stronger and stronger relationships with our customers. And I'm telling you this not to impress you or anything like that. I'm trying to impress upon you that these are very small things that can be done that can make more money. Another idea that I presented to a client and they've taken it on board and is one of their vulnerabilities. They had all these capabilities inside the business and their customers weren't taking them up. And the vulnerability said, well, we don't tell them enough. And so here's a piece of advertising real estate that I bet you're not using. A bit of advertising real estate that's free, that I bet you're not using, is the bottom of your invoices. At the bottom of your invoice, you can say, did you know we also do Facebook ads? Well, I do Facebook ads. We also do site checks, or we do Excel, or whatever you do, you can add that. It costs nothing. Send it out. If people receive your invoices, put that on there. And what that did is that business was able to increase their uptake from existing clients into new services, which grew the recurring revenue, which built more value into the organization. So this is not just about generating more leads. It's about making sure your customers also know what you do. All right. Second is from invisible to influential. The currency that people think about, the wealthiest people that we know out there, people who have had meteoric rises in the last 10 years. There was people who danced on a new app called TikTok. It's not new anymore, but new app on TikTok made millions. Remember that guy, you might remember him, who skateboarded to that Fleetwood Mac song, drinking the, and he's a factory worker. He worked in, I think, a potato factory or something like that. He was drinking out of a Ocean Spray cranberry juice bottle and playing that song and put it up on TikTok. Got millions of views. He then turned that into a collaboration with Snoop Dogg, who's possibly one of the best marketers in the world, and has stopped working at the potato factory simply because he put that one piece of content up. So he was able to become an influencer because he was no longer invisible. So obviously we're not selling Ocean Spray or collaborating with Snoop Dogg yet, but what you can take from that is it just takes one piece of content. Now, people like me and regular humans out there, it might take 100 bits of content or even 1,000 bits of content. And that's why I put out quite a bit of content to try to help you. And you've got to think about the content that you're putting out. The content that you're putting out has to be, I would like you to put this through the filter of your customer's headspace and goes, would my customer want to read this? Would they want to share this with a colleague? So your carousel about your services on LinkedIn, that's not interesting. Have a great day. If you're a florist, have a great day with a picture of flowers, pointless. But if you solve problems for a particular group of people, you can then say, well, we help, this is the way we're solving it. So for me, I have a podcast called the CEO and the Salesman podcast. I'm the salesman. I interview tech CEOs to find out how they did it, how they got that funding round, how they exit. I spoke to one person who's built and grown a technology business, launched on the stock market, and then exited, made lots and lots of money. He's now a mentor to other people. That was a great podcast. Klaus, his name is. Go check that guy out. Australian guy, health tech. Really interesting conversation. I've spoken with some really interesting people, but that's my content. I think, well, that's going to help. That's going to be interesting to people in the software and technology space who actually, they'll go, oh, well, I want to listen to these people. They're at a stage where I want to be, or they're at a stage, they're going through the same problems that I'm dealing with. How are they dealing with team, time, technology, money, all of that type of, those types of things. So how do we get... Now, if you don't know this person, Gary Vaynerchuk, he started his father owned a bottle shop out of New York, I think in a suburb, not a suburb of New York, like in Jersey, across the river. And so the bottle shop was called Wine Library, and he then started a YouTube channel in the mid 2000s called Wine Library TV. And just every day, him and as a 25-year-old sat there, would sip wine and give a rating and talk about, the notes of blueberries or something. I'm not a big, huge wine. I like good wine. I can't describe it very well. But he did that. And so he did that, and then he transferred that into a business, and he started doing marketing. His marketing business now is worth about $700 million. And he is all about getting attention. So day trading attention is his book that he's just put out. And he says the number one asset for any business entrepreneur or personal brand is attention. Once again, that TikToker, the Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Elon Musk, they live on attention. If Elon didn't have the level of attention that he had, Tesla probably wouldn't be the most valuable car company in the world, because they certainly don't build the most cars or make the most money. You'd think that fundamentals like building the most cars and making the most money would be important, but it's not there. But it's about the attention that Elon gets. That's why. So, and then what I say is the only reason you don't have enough sales is not enough people know about you. So that's really it. So if you switch off this webinar now, I just got to be known by more people in my target market. That's what you got to do. That's your job. But that's the next step. Let's keep going. Oh, and how we do that. So as I said, this is not just, I do talk a lot in broad terms. I want to get really, you can screenshot this. This is the action that's going to drive attraction. This is the action that's going to drive that attention. So you've only got 3 ways to do it. One-to-one, you can talk to people, pick up the phone. Face-to-face networking, you can do one-to-many, which is the most effective. And then, of course, referrals and word of mouth. That's the easiest. Referrals and word of mouth, you do a good job. Doing a good job is sort of table stakes. It's par for the course now. But doing a good job, somebody's going to tell somebody else about it. It's a barbecue conversation. Oh, have you heard of John? He does a good job. So that's obviously important. But let's go to the middle one. Advertising. Let the algorithm do the work. The algorithm, Facebook, Insta, or LinkedIn, their whole job is to serve. They make money from serving you adverts. Those adverts need to be interesting and engaging, targeted. Because if I got a bunch of adverts for potting mix, probably not going to keep opening up Facebook. The ads have got to be really targeted to me. So nobody has more data on you than Facebook. Nobody in the world. So you might as well use that data to talk to your customers. Post free social media content. Free content like this is absolutely, well, first of all, it's free. Never in time has there been a greater opportunity to distribute your message for free to the world. Never. It's only going to get more. It's only going to get noisier. So the work you do now is going to pay off in the future. It continues to pay off every month for me, and it does for my clients as well, who post on social content and communicate real value to their clients. And email, highest ROI. If you're probably on my email list, you got an email about this, that's where I get most of my deals from, most of my customers from, is from that email list. Okay, that's how we're going to do that. Third part is trust is your ticket. How do you build trust? Obviously doing a good job, but people don't know about the job that you're going to do before you've done it. So often if somebody's buying a product or service similar to yours, or buying a product and service that they haven't bought before, and yours fits into that unique category, what's going to happen? They're going to say, well, I don't know. Because if you've never seen or heard of a car before and somebody described it to you, let's say it's got 4 wheels and some seats and a steering wheel and it's red. Okay. So as far as that, and that's how a lot of people, talk about dashboards. Oh, it's a dashboard, or it's a marketing program. It's a marketing program. Well, I've heard about those things before. Well, but your marketing program might be, or your dashboard or your software might be a Ferrari. What they've had exposure to in the past is a Lada, but both of those have 4-wheel seats and a steering wheel. So you need to figure out a way to build trust prior to the purchase. And how you do that is you tell your story. Telling your story is absolutely vital when it comes to bringing people onto the journey of who you are, what you do, what you stand for, and the type of customers that you serve. So Melanie Perkins, claiming it, Australian. So sharing a story from Canva, by the way, sharing a story isn't about marketing. It's about connecting with your customers on a human level. When they see your journey, they trust your brand and become loyal advocates. I just got an email from Canva last week saying my monthly subscription is going from $20 a month to $65 a month, I messaged my team of marketers that, hey, Canva's, tripling in price. Should we look for alternatives? I almost had a revolution on my hands. These people have become advocates, because what happens is a lot of them use Canva at university or at school. I have a young team. Not all the marketers that work for me, actually, nobody looked as old as I am. These people have grown up with Canva. They've bought into the story, and now they're using it on a daily basis in a professional circumstance, because they understand, they know, like, and trust the story. And this is what I want for you as well. Tell your story. I was selling enterprise data warehouse software to the biggest mining company in the world, and the other ones around that who are just as big, who have overseas and also local businesses. I would start sales conversations with the story of the owners. Start conversations. Start presentations. Start demos. I had rooms full of very important people, and I would start with how the business started, because that starts to bring people on with the journey, not show the product and start clicking through things. That's boring. Well, not necessarily boring, but you might think it's riveting. But for other people, they go, well, I don't understand the context. So give people context. The reason that story is so important is because it's baked deep into our collective psyches. The only way we've been communicating for however long we've been around, maybe 50,000, maybe 100,000 years, is by sitting around and telling stories. Where is it safe? Where is it not safe? Where can I get food from? These stories. And so humans are deeply rooted in story. So now that you know that, make sure you're telling your story. Makes no sense to go, well, we've got a platform that achieves this. Tell the story of why you built the platform. Have that as part of your journey. You bring people along for the journey. So once again, start with the highest thing. Now let me give you a really low-level technical way to do it. Here's how you build your story. The industry problems you saw, how they're solved, spreadsheets or whatever, handwritten notes or whatever it is, how they fell short, the process that you went through, the roadblocks along the way. How many times have you seen a speaker, seen somebody who's really good at their craft of oration, of clearly communicating, where they've actually talked about the problems along the way? Almost all of them. So hiding your problems, hiding your challenges in your path to getting to the nirvana that your product is right now, or your service is right now, is actually a badge of honor. You've gone through the pain. You understand what it takes to actually win. You've fought through the challenges and you've come out the other side. This is the sort of story that engages people. Just saying, hey, we've got the greatest thing that ever existed, falls flat, and it's not that interesting. Because it's not about having the best product. It's about having the best understanding of what your customers really want. So I know I threw in a couple of overseas quotes at the beginning of the thing, so I thought I'd a couple of Australian ones towards the end. So this is what you need to do. You need to understand your customer at a deep, deep level. Remember, you can actually ask questions if you want. So please use the Q&A box if you like. But you can ask, you can ask. It's about understanding what your customers really need. And that talks all the way back to that first part, which is knowing your customer and understanding their values and their behavior and their role. That's the level of stuff you need to get to about that. Okay. Here is a marketing conversion funnel that I use with customers, and the marketing conversion funnel is not just unaware, here are the channels. I want to build a burning question. What's the question on people's mind at the top? Now, I've made this very, very generic, so it might not fit, actually probably won't fit most businesses on the call today. But I want you to think, what's the burning question that the customer might have if they don't even know they've got a problem? How can I tell if my business is operating at full potential? That's probably a reasonably broad question. And we can start answering that using and funneling people in to think how we want them to think. We do that through organic social and blogs and industry forums and events and LinkedIn outreach and listicles. A listicle is just the top 5 ways that we helped X to do Y through Z, or that type of thing. The 7 secrets to, or the 5 ones, 5 elements of, right? And so you want to make always an odd number for some reason, but that's what a listicle is. It's a list article. So find out your burning question. Sit around with your team and go, okay, if people are unaware that we exist and products like ours exists, what is the burning question for them? Then once they move to understanding what's their burning, so the burning question at that level is, how much are inefficient processes and workarounds really costing me? So how do we show that? We show that through ebooks and white papers and obviously paid search. Now, what's interesting is paid search doesn't exist at that unaware stage, because paid search is people are actually on Google going, how do I build a dashboard? Well, they've already moved through the emotional process of now I need to solve for the problem, right? They're a bit further down the funnel. Often Facebook advertising is a broad market strategy where you're trying to catch everybody and give them the 5 reasons why technology companies are winning in 2024. I'm making these terrible titles up on the spot, as you can tell, but you get the idea. So it's really broad, and then you try to narrow them with email. Whereas if you're lower in the funnel, a Google search is people want to buy, marketing, technology marketing Australia. Well, they're going to find me. How much are inefficient processes and workarounds really costing me? Understand that question and then answer it with your content. If they're really genuinely looking around, what solutions are available to address this particular problem? And you provide them webinars and so you start giving them more content. Comparing, okay, I'm looking at 2 different businesses. So how does my solution stack up against the alternatives? How does your solution stack up against the alternatives? Of course, you're going to provide case studies, testimonials, those types of things. Now, what's interesting about case studies and ROI and proofs of concept, those types of things are really, really low in the funnel. If you start providing, and you're at the early stage of a sales conversation, let's say they're only just understanding that they've got a problem, and you say, we want to provide you a proof of concept, a free demo. Often free demos are a killer of deals because they're not really understanding they've even got a problem, and you're going to say, hey, use it for free, and that's fine. It sounds cool. But unless your product is super easy to use, like a Canva, are going to have real trouble getting that cut through to a purchase level, simply because they're going to need to integrate this and update that and plug some of these ones over here and then create a whole new set of habits. And if you're going to provide a 14 or a 30-day free trial of your thing, and you don't have an easy walkthrough process to onboard them, a babysat or a handheld walkthrough, you're going to have a really hard time onboarding these people effectively. So often I've actually worked with SaaS businesses and we've removed the free trial very successfully. Oh, by the way, also don't offer proofs of concept at the person who's unaware, because it's at work. It's also work, it's effort. The further the person gets down the funnel, the more likely they are to spend time and energy on your solution. Nobody's sitting around in a business thinking, geez, I've got nothing to do today. Geez, I hope I can look at a piece of software that I can potentially pay Jim for. So, so the last stage is choosing. What's a genuine ROI? This is when they start talking to their finance people. They start talking to the higher ups. They start talking about money, and those guys and girls speak our language. That language is about value, about ROI. It's about pain saved, or achievement got, things in the future up and to the right, the blue sky, those things achieved. You need to be able to provide that. So guided trials, not free trials, proofs of concept, platform capability assessments, that type of stuff, statements of work, that type of stuff. So this is what your funnel should look like. It shouldn't have marketing things in there. It should be like, this is the marketing conversion funnel. This is the questions that I've got. Now let's answer them with that content. And we need to have at least, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stages here. We need to have at least 5 pieces of content that talks to one of those each stage. All right, so today's agenda. Sorry, I should have fixed that. Conversion is king. Last one. Now, when it comes to sales, a lot of people feel that this is the way you make sales. It's about pressure and standover and threats and intimidation. That's not what sales is about. This is sales. And when I started selling, sales existed way at the beginning, early stage of stage 1. Where you would actually contact a person and work through them and provide them a brochure and do all those types of things. As technology has improved and as buyers have changed, just noted the G down the second line there, the impact of the time in which a salesperson is engaged is further along the path. So if you think about it, social media content, LinkedIn outreach, this is stage 1. I'm not unaware of the problem. In the red there, they click into the blog, they go, oh, this Georgie person's got a bit of an idea. Then they might see a lead magnet, how inefficiency in X, identifying your pay points or whatever it might be. They might have joined a webinar, top 5 challenges, or they might see another blog post. They might sign up to the webinar and then either in an email sequence, or then they might receive a guide that's specifically tailored to them and a case study, how we've solved problems for people like them. And then as we move along now, considering options, that's when sales happens in 2024, way later than however long it's ever been. Now, some of my customers in pure SaaS plays, they do have great platforms and they do product-led sales. It's a different type of selling, but product-led selling. They actually don't want to talk to a customer. They want to onboard them all the way through. So what happens, if you think about sales as a scale, right? You got marketing on one side and sales on the other. If you're amazing at marketing, okay, in the past, you could be really great at sales, have pretty ordinary marketing, and that's going to cut the mustard. But as marketing expectations from the market and your capability internally goes up, your sales doesn't need to be as aggressive and outgoing. You can actually bring that sales and dial it down. So you start bringing it into balance. And if you've got balanced sales and marketing, that's the perfect place in which you're going to get the most cut through. So for my other customers doing product-led selling, they never want to talk to a customer until they're onboarded. And so they have really, we work really hard to do really amazing marketing for them. And so their sales is really not sales, it's customer success. These people signing up and doing the thing, but the first step was super narrow, early win, easy to do, quick win. So as you think about your sales process, you need to have content at each stage. And it's really important to have a great proposal, a great contract, a great brochure, these things need to be considered when trying to make a sale. If you've just got a brochure that's one page that has, here's the 50 things that we do with a bunch of dot points, that is the least engaging thing you could send somebody, because once again, it's work. And we want to make sure the pre-sales piece feels like a low amount of work. And then as people move towards the sale, they go, I'm now engaged, emotionally engaged in the thing. I'm happy to do work. It's important. All right, so there's a couple of statistics I want to share with you about sales. Top one there, 48% of salespeople never follow up with a prospect. That makes me physically ill. The bottom one is what I want you to take note of. Obviously, you can have a look at all of these. The bottom one is the most important. 80% of sales are made on the 5th to the 12th contact. If you're giving up after 2 attempts, if you're calling them, sending an email, messaging them on, somebody says something interesting on LinkedIn, you message them, communicate with them, then you give up, go, they'll call me if they need me. You are losing a significant amount of money. Simple as that. So 80% of sales made on the 5th to the 12th contact. And those contacts can be phone calls and emails and invitations to webinars and DMs, a whole bunch of stuff. But when it comes right down to it, and I'll talk about phone calls in a minute, I'm pretty excited about sharing this with you. I've got a couple of minutes before the webinar ends, and I want to share this with you. Let me just see, is any other questions? Not yet? Okay, cool. So really, when you get right down to your sales, I've been selling, and my first sales gig was when I was 17. I was selling vacuum cleaners door to door. It's almost like a start of a joke, right? 17, just finished school, and I was selling vacuum cleaners literally door to door. But what they did is they were to take a 17-year-old who was a 17-year-old and didn't know anything, or worked at Macca's, and turn him into a salesperson. How was that able to be done? By using a sales script. Now, I know that a lot of people in technology say, oh, well, I'm a natural, they say crazy things like, I just got to talk to somebody and they understand it, or people just get it when they understand it. And the people who don't get it, they're not worth selling to. They also say things like, oh, well, I don't want to be scammy, or I don't want to be salesy, or sales scripts make me feel wooden and just really unnatural. Well, the only reason you have those feelings is because you are very bad at doing sales scripts. If Brad Pitt didn't, if nobody won an Oscar without a script, without a script. Nobody won an Oscar without a script. Nobody gets paid in Hollywood $50 million without a script. They might be able to go off script, but they certainly have a structure and a script to work with. Now, I have a structure and a script to go with, and you've got to make sure that you've written out your best, because your best of you, it's on the most important thing you can do is be your best every time you speak to a customer. because your customer doesn't know what they don't know. And they don't know that you're hot, or you kicked your toe, or the dog bit you, or you left your lunch at home, or whatever. What are the problems you're dealing with? These are low, but whatever problems you're dealing with, you're going to think, oh, how can I help? Like, that's ordinary. You want to help people buy by being your best. Now, but it's not this guy's script. It's not about manipulation. It's about creating a structure. And that's why I was talking about a structure earlier. So if you do book a call with me, I will give you my sales script. I have no heartache giving you my sales script. So just message me after the demo, after the webinar, and we'll make a time, we'll have a conversation. I'll send you the sales script. Now, I've done a sales training on this. There's a webinar out there of me doing this. It's called the $100 million sales script. I have sold probably more than $100 million now using this particular script, the structure. And I'll be more than happy to share that with you, because really, this is the part that 99% of technology businesses don't do very well, is that selling part. Because if you've got a really high cut-through rate, if you've got a really high closure rate, it probably tells me you're dealing with a lot of referrals. And referrals are like shooting fish in a barrel. They've already come in with a problem and you're solving it. As soon as you start going out there into the marketplace and talking to people who don't know you, like you, or trust you, that's when you've actually got to be really good. That's why the marketing is important. Okay, so they're the 4 key areas that I was talking about earlier. Now I want to talk about Sales and Marketing Tech Spotlight. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is AI calling qualification calendar integration. If you'll indulge me, I'll stop sharing. Okay, I want to show you this. This is pretty cool. All right, coming, cool. All right, let me show you this. I'll bring up and what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to call myself, and we're going to have a conversation with an AI. And so if you've not seen this before, what I'm going to do at the end of the webinar is, with your permission, allow you to have a conversation with this AI as well. Now, obviously, I'll change the script, but the idea is for you to be able to have a conversation and ask about services. And this is something you can do in your business. It's very early days. She speaks a little bit slowly for my taste, but this stuff is in the market right now. So let me go to here. And we'll start it. Let me just turn my phone on. Watch this. Okay, so I'll put it up to the microphone. Okay, so it's calling me from an Australian number. Hello, this is Matthew.
Hi, Matthew. It's Alice from TechTorque. I'm Matthew Whyatt's AI assistant. I've heard your webinar is going really well. Shall we do a demo?
Yeah, that sounds great. So what can TechTorque do?
Hey, Matthew. TechTorque is all about helping tech companies like yours boost their growth with tailored marketing strategies. We dive deep into your current marketing efforts, pinpoint areas for improvement, and give you actionable insights to drive growth. Would you be interested in scheduling a strategy session to see how we can help?
Oh, that might be a bit too quick. Can you do, what else does TechTorque do?
I think you meant TechTorque, right? Besides the strategy sessions, we also offer ongoing support to implement the strategies we recommend. This includes optimizing your sales funnel, enhancing brand positioning, and leveraging data-driven marketing tactics.
All right, well, that's
some success stories.
Hey, yeah, I actually would like to hear some success stories, but what I'll do is I'll hang up now. But can you book me into an appointment? Is there an appointment available to talk to Matthew? Oh, so I actually hung up because I said that's enough. Anyway, so hopefully that shows you that there is some really cool stuff available out there. And what I'm going to do is at the end of it, if you take a call from her, go through, and you can actually, I've got that integrated into my calendar. And if you go through and book that into your calendar, have a conversation with me, I'll actually do the next thing and we'll talk about it, which is, I'll share my screen again. That's pretty cool, right? Just in the Q&A box. If you thought that was pretty cool, let me know. I'll share. Actually, let me know if you could hear that. That'd be really weird if you just couldn't hear that. Could you guys hear that? Maybe I've put you all to sleep. All right, that's okay, cool, thanks. All right, so we're back to sharing my screen. Oh yeah, Danny raised his hand. Thanks, Danny. So Danny, just find the Q&A box and then you can write in there. The chat box seems to be disabled, but find the Q&A box and you can write whatever you like in there. Should have said that earlier. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go through and call people and see if you want to book into my calendar. If you want to book into my calendar, you'll get a call from Alice and have a conversation. Oh, good, you could hear it. Great. My son, who's 13, asked her if she knew what Riz was, and she explained that it was and also skibbity and whatever other nonsense that the teenagers are talking about at the moment. And she actually did answer it. So you can just basically talk about anything, and it's really it's fascinating, the technology and where it's at, what we can do. So if you do that, the next part is, AI emailing, free leads. So I've partnered with a company out of the US, and what we're doing is they want to test their solution, test their software. And what that means is they're going to stand up the infrastructure to email out to your customer base. That doesn't have to be yours, but they will use AI to find customers like you want to deal with, and then find you your first 3 leads for free. And so if you want to book in or message me about that, email me. If you don't want to talk to Alice, let me know. But I'd love you to have a conversation with Alice to see if you can get your feedback, please. So they're offering those leads for free. Obviously, then in the future, once they've generated those leads, if you do want to carry on, there is a price, about $150 US per lead. So you'll need a reasonably high conversion rate, and you'll need a high priced product, or reasonably high priced product. Anyway, so that's what we wanted to talk about today in the webinar. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. I just want to make sure that we check in. So first of all, nailing a niche, getting really narrow. And from invisible to influential, we know exactly how we're going to grow and get noticed and grab that attention. Trust is your ticket. You're going to tell your story. You're going to build and continue to grow when it comes to your relationship with your existing customers. And of course, conversion is king. Get good at selling. Get good at the process. Either it's got the most efforts going into marketing, or the most efforts going into selling. But in 2024, your effort needs to be more towards the marketing side. Ladies and gentlemen, that's come to about the time. If you'd like me to help you with your path of least resistance, please do go ahead and book in, have a conversation with Alice, or of course you can email me if the technology fails at some stage, which it's likely to do. It's very, very early days. As you can hear, there was a few little hiccups on that call as well. So if you'd like personalized help, let's find your path of least resistance. It's a 45-minute conversation. We're going to go through a sales process. I'm actually going to bring the whole process. I call that your sales process. We're going to go through the whole process with you and give you some recommendations and also some templates and ideas and how you could actually implement that. And I'm doing that for free. Thank you once again. If you've had if you've enjoyed the conversation, if you've got some value out of it, let me know. If there's other ways that I can improve, obviously, let me know that as well. Thanks very much, and here's to your success. Bye for now.